Give us
Thanks.
a sense. What was the real driver of this quarter? Where did you see the boost? Because in the beginning of the quarter, you saw some tariff impacts. You saw some slowdown in demand due to tariff uncertainty.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the thing is tail. We have three customer bases. One is the technicians. The vans calling in, and then the other is the repair shop owners and managers. And then there are organized companies that we make kits for projects in critical industries like oil and gas and aviation and military. That business was down. The critical industries business was down, but the van business, the technicians, we started to see traction in our tactics to pivot to shorter payback items, which is what technicians want in these uncertain times. They don't want to tie themselves to longer financial obligations, and therefore those are the things that enable selling things like this toolbox behind me. And so that's about a third of our product line for them. So we were pivoting to those in manufacturing and design and selling, and that pivot started to get traction, and that business was up 1.6%. And more than that, I think the profitability was 23.8%, which was equal to last year, but the third highest ever in a pretty turbulent time. So I think the street liked that.
All right. So, Nick, talk to me about the One Big Beautiful Bill and the tax cuts. You were one of the people that came on and said that we need the tax cuts. We also heard it from the National Association of Manufacturers. Now that we got those tax cuts, we got the bonus depreciation in the bill, what's your outlook going forward? What are you expecting?
I think it's pretty positive for manufacturing. For us, we make in the markets where we sell. So the bill wasn't so important for us. I mean, we like the bonus depreciation. We like the tax trifecta associated with the principally the R&D and the capital expenditures, But the small businesses, which is about 93% of all manufacturers, got a big boost out of this bill. So you had practical value, the 199A, the $20,000 credit for taxes for those people, and the tax trifecta helped them immensely. But then the other thing that's most important about this is, I think it shows that this administration is not only endorsing manufacturing, but it's supporting it. And that always hasn't happened. Congress and administrations have said they wanted to support manufacturing, but they've been willing to sacrifice the interest of manufacturing on the altar of many different causes. And so this shows that, boy, the future is good for manufacturing. The country itself, embodied in the administration, is seeing that it is the important and essential component that drives America forward and always has for its almost 250 years.
So you're seeing more opportunity with this administration. I want to talk to you about another part of this administration, which has been the dollar's fall. You actually had a negative impact from the weaker dollar. Walk me through that, because we generally think that a weaker dollar is good for overseas sales.
Yeah, well, a weaker dollar would be good, but this particular situation, we had some we sourced some things out of Sweden and we make them in Sweden and we move them into the euro and so on, and then the SEK itself had the Swedish currency had risen substantially. So what we saw in the quarter, our gross margins were pretty great. Overall gross margins 50.5%, down 10 basis points, and that was against 50 basis points of negative currency. So what you saw is the negative currency being overcome by our rapid continuous improvement operations constantly. So the improvement that we've seen over the years, we've increased our OI margin 85 basis points on average for the last 15, 16 years. And you saw that playing out again in this quarter, even though it was turbulent.
All right, Nick, Brian Sullivan, along with the president, along with the Commerce Secretary, they were in Pennsylvania earlier this week. A lot of talk about, energy investments. Also, we had CoreWeave talking about data centers. We had Meta talking about data centers. Does Snap-on benefit from that? And if so, what segment of your business should we see the impact potentially?
You'd see it in a commercial industrial. That was the business. That was the business that was down in the quarter because but we benefit there because it's project based. We make customized kits for those kinds of things, and people like to pay for that customization. So it's a great business. In this quarter, particularly, Liberation Day became kind of a shock, like pandemic. The people who were doing that said, hey, wait a minute, the world is kind of turned upside down. I don't know what's going to go on, so I'm going to wait and see. And so just like the pandemic, what we saw in the quarter at the beginning, people froze for a while, and now they're starting to accommodate and figuring out how to map this out. And so we came out of the quarter stronger than when we entered. That's another thing I think the street liked.